Hello, I'm Matt Jarvis from Tabletop Gaming, and I love listening to BoardChitless, which won't leave you bored shitless.
Hey there, chitheads, and welcome back to another episode of BoardChitless. I'm Leki, and this week I'm joined by
Tristan
and Sam.
And this week we've been playing Seven Wonders with the Armada expansion and Hellboy, the board game. Well, we played Seven Wonders with pretty much all the expansions, minus the Babel one, which you do have, but we didn't mix in. Is that correct?
Babel Tower.
There might be more
There's
expansions.
probably
I
millions.
keep buying them, but they just keep turning up. So we've got in there cities, I think, and leaders, and then we added armadas today, which had ships.
Ooh,
And a whole separate
that's
board.
pretty good.
And a whole separate board where you could move the ships.
It was tasty, wasn't it? It looked really complicated, but then when we actually started playing with it, it turned out it wasn't very complicated at all.
That's what I thought about the rules as well. I was like, oh, they look really complicated. And then I read them and I'm like, oh, they're not really complicated at all.
Yeah, well, there we go. So in
That was
essence,
Seven Wonders. Thanks for listening.
so in essence, you've got a track, and for every red, blue, green, or yellow card that you play, so like markets or science cards, that sort of stuff,
Resources.
you can overspend resources when you bring cards into play and move your ship forward one, and then that'll give you a little bonus. So it'll give you some extra victory points towards the end of the game, or a card to play because you discovered an island, that sort of thing. And like we said, yeah, I thought it played very nicely, and the art looks really good as well. And it gives you nice little plastic ship tokens that you push forward as well, which is cool.
It's funny you mentioned the artwork, because I think the artwork for Seven Wonders and all the expansions is brilliant. And then as you play it, you lay all your cards down and immediately start covering up all of the artwork by layering each of your city buildings, or if you explore one of the new beautiful islands from the Armada expansion, you look at the island, you're like, oh, that's pretty, gain the bonus, and then tuck it underneath your Armada ship board, never to be seen again. And it's just one of those strange things about Seven Wonders where it's this beautifully illustrated game, but actually all you ever see is the graphic design, which is still good, but it's just, you don't see all the pretty
It's a kind of
pictures.
strong graphic design. It actually works when you're looking at your resources and stuff. It's quite functional.
It works. It works to a point. I don't know. We have discussed Seven Wonders before on the podcast. You look back into the archives, find out a bit more about it. I don't know if we actually talked about it's more of a problem with expansion cards. Is every other turn you're referring to one of like 7 rule books to find out what the key that tells you what the card ability means.
Yeah, there's definitely a bit of that.
It does kind of take a bit of time. It does add to the analysis paralysis a little bit, but you get past it.
But it's such a fast game with Seven Wonders, isn't it, really? I mean, we played a 5-player game tonight and rattled through it in probably an hour.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit over.
Right.
But it's funny that you mentioned it's a fast game, because it's one of the few games that you play where if you're not careful, you'll sort of take a turn before everyone else has taken the turn previously, and then you've got to sit there for 5 minutes and wait for everyone to hurry up and make their decisions.
Throw it completely out of whack.
Yeah, or like something happens, it'll confuse you slightly. It's easy to forget where you are in the game.
Yeah, there's a new element as well in the Armada's expansion where if you push your science ship, which is the green ship, if you push that forward, you can explore new islands.
Yeah.
And you draw 4 island cards, depending on which level the ship's at. There's like 3 different levels of coolness of the islands.
Yeah.
And then you're looking at the 4 islands and you're deciding which of those is the best card. Meanwhile, everybody else has taken their turn and is staring at you whilst you're still trying to appraise which of the islands to use. So there's like a whole other layer of AP in that. But it's worth it, because I think it's one of these expansions where you don't know you need it until you played with it, and then you're like, oh, right, yeah, it actually fits that perfect groove of, in Seven Wonders, you will overgenerate resources. You'll get to a point where, hopefully, if you're playing well, you've got enough resources that you can play most of the cards that you get, and then you're just like, oh, I've got, by the third age, the final age, you've got everything, you've got all the resources you need. So it's really nice to actually have this new side quest sort of thing of playing a card, but trying to push the ships that matches it, trying to push that ship forward as well. And then you'll start to find, actually I need 2 resources this turn because I need 1 to play the card, or 2 lots of resources and 1 to push the ship. And then it's a whole other game again. And those little bonuses that you get from moving the ships are really cool. Like there's now sea battles. Before it was just a big land ruck at the end of the round. Now you have to have like a sea battle as well, naval fight. Then there's if you build if you push the blue ships forward, they give you extra victory points. Then you've got the science ships, which discover the islands, and the commerce ships, where you get extra gold and you can tax everyone else. So you can rinse everyone at the table for their gold if they've not pushed their commerce ships out. So it's actually another level of interaction, and that's one of the things that's kind of required in Seven Wonders, because it's very much, I think Dave would call it a point salad game.
Oh yeah, totally.
Where you're sitting individually just scoring your own thing, or kind of scoring it, because you know really clear sense of how well everyone's doing until the very final.
Yeah, it sort of boils down to set collection, doesn't it? And like one of the expansions brings in guilds, so for every sort of like yellow card you've got, you'll get an extra victory point at the end of the game.
Guilds are in there from the start.
Oh, from the start? Oh, fair enough. Is it just...
They're the big point scoring cards, basically, for the final round.
Excellent. It does confuse me slightly, because what's great about Seven Wonders is each expansion will sort of bring a new element to the gameplay, but it'll also bring in extra cards that'll beef out previous modules. So you get a few extra leader cards each time, a few extra market cards each time. Yeah. And they've all got different abilities, and it does kind of like mix up the entire game rather than just one aspect of it that it's introduced. Sam, you arrived today just after Tristan explained the rules, and once we'd all taken a turn.
Yeah.
How did you get on? Did you manage to catch up pretty quick with that?
Yeah, I got to grips with the rules pretty quickly, but I realised there was an extra tactical or even strategic element to it that I didn't pick up on quick enough, and that was the resources needed to power the ships. I was just focused on my generic get some wood, stone stuff.
Military, that's your thing, isn't it?
I went heavily military. Yeah,
you had all
get Leki. That was your tactic.
Military.
But I was relying on you and Francesco either side of me to give me the resources I needed for the other stuff.
Yeah,
and I realised I didn't have any loom, and I realised far too late that neither did you two.
Yeah, we were
and
rubbish.
I got completely handicapped by that, because not only because I could not build any of the buildings that I was getting, I couldn't advance some of my ships because I couldn't get past that first stage.
Yeah,
So I got crippled by not realising that was part of it. So next time I play it, I'd be looking more at what I need to overcome those first obstacles, and then weighing up more what everyone else has got.
Yeah, the science cards got mopped up pretty much straight away, because they're the cards that pushed your boats out to discover islands, which give you like great early game boons. So like I didn't play a science card until like the third round, but I was playing loads of like basic resource cards and loads of a couple of market cards. It turned out that I'd built a sort of game engine that relied heavily on just playing the blue cards, which like I'd never even done before. So I was like spamming all these VP cards down, pushing my blue ship out and getting all extra VP tokens there. And I went from last place to like third place, I think, in like the last couple of turns, which was cool.
I think what I was doing was I was playing it the same way I'd always played it, like making sure I had more military than everyone else, and then trying to get some resources going early on. But because of all the ships and everything else that was going on, that didn't really work. So you have to change the way you play it, and it gives you. I think it gives you more paths to victory, which is quite a good thing for Seven Wonders. Is you're not just relying on those purple cards coming up at the end. Now you can actually focus on these ships, and you get some really good bonuses, which will give you like the blue ship. If you got it higher up, I think you got 8 victory points off that. Yeah, which would have won the game. How close it was at the end, I think that would have won the game. Like if someone else had got it. So it does actually change quite a bit, and it's quite nice. I think it's a good addition to it.
I really like how in such a short game, all that stuff you were talking about building your resource engine and then like going for victory points in the last round, that dovetails. Like if you zoom out and have a look at Through the Ages, my probably favorite game of all time. That's exactly what you're doing, but in a more detailed way over the course of 5 or 6 hours. And you kind of get like such a distilled version of that playing Seven Wonders in such a short amount of time. And I just find it really satisfying. It's one of those games I just always happy to break it out. And every time we do, chucking in an expansion to mix things up just gives it that extra frisson of, this is really cool how it's changed things up. And we've got the Tower of Babel expansion as well here, which I've not even looked at yet because I thought the Armada's one would be too complicated. And actually, it's kind of seamlessly in there now. And I think next time we play it, maybe just keep it as this setup with all these expansions that we've got currently shuffled in. And then the time after that, chuck Babel in as well, to really mix it up again.
Are the expansions are pretty beefy, like the amount of stuff that you get? Are they all pretty much competitively priced? Are they the same as the base game cost-wise again?
I mean, these ones are bigger. The Armada's one comes with quite a lot of content and cards and the little ships and the shipboards and island cards. And Babel looks like it comes with loads of stuff as well. I've not even punched the components yet. But the first two, the cities and leaders ones, are literally just cards.
It's like tiny boxes, aren't they? Yeah.
So and it's not a pricey game. It is once you start adding in all the expansions and stuff, but you don't need them. You get so much mileage out of the base game, and we did way before we started adding cards. And then once I heard about the expansions, I was like, because it gets enough play. This one, it gets enough table time to start the night that it's worth it. And it, the family will play it as well. The three of us will sit down and batter through it, and it's good. And Raphael beat me and Francesca the other day at it, so and we weren't pulling our punches or anything like that. We just he's wiped the floor with us and like some cool combos. So at 9 years old, for him to sort of grok it at our level, was really cool.
Well, you say that. I mean, I think me and Sam were just playing cards randomly out of our hand and hoping for the best.
But then you've not played it as often now, have you? It's a while since we broke it out at game night, isn't it?
It's been a short while. Still really fun though, and it's one of those games where someone will suggest playing it, and you're like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then by 2 minutes in, you're like, actually, no, it's really good. I really enjoy it. Well, there we go then. It's like 7 Wonders with the Armada expansion. If you've not checked out the game, look it up. It's great fun.
There's a reason that the box is literally covered in awards logos all the way around.
Yeah, and beautiful artwork as well. So it's like just
which you can enjoy before or after playing, but probably not during.
So before we get started talking about Hellboy, just want to draw everyone's attention to the fact that we got another review in. This one was a bit of a sleeper review. Someone made it in like the 25th of April. It fell under the radar, so we apologise, but we're going to do a little shout out to Mysterio Man, who said that we've got a very excellent podcast and he likes the content. But Sam, you need to speak up. He's not happy with the audio levels when you talk.
Is it the audio levels, or does he mean Sam needs to contribute more verbally?
I think it's to do with how close I have the microphone to my mouth, but I'm not sure.
Excellent demonstration.
You don't make it easy for Paul Leckie when he's doing the edit.
No, editing is practically impossible, but it's fine because we love you.
Yeah, I'm not very good with the microphone, and also I've not got much to say.
Yeah,
so
it really doesn't.
That's it.
Nothing of value. Nothing that will get past the editing stage anyway.
No, I think I overcompensated and just like blew you out massively there, volumes wise. But thanks very much to Stereo Man for making a very lovely review for us and giving us 5 stars. If anyone else wants to contribute to the BoardChitless community, then please get on iTunes or SoundCloud or whatever and leave us a review and a rating. We'd love that.
We're listening. Well, you're listening, but we're listening back.
We're keeping an eye out. We know it's happening. So if you write stuff down, we're gullible enough to read it out aloud live on a podcast, which isn't live.
Yeah, we will definitely shout you out if you leave us a review.
A positive review.
No, we shout you out if it's negative as well.
Any review. Like
we can cuss them out if it's negative.
We literally can't afford to be picky.
So we appreciate all the feedback that we get.
Thank you. Okay, so Hellboy the board game. It is a dungeon crawler, isn't it? Really, for 1 to 4 players. There's minis, there's map tiles, there's dice, there's monsters,
there's cards,
there's Hellboys, and there's cards. And it's based on the comics by Dark Horse Comics rather than the recent-ish. I mean, it's probably like 20 years old now. Movie franchise that everyone's known to love from Mr. Del Toro.
Well, there was a movie reboot that's literally just come out.
Is it a reboot or is it a direct sequel that's just not got Ron Perlman in it?
Sam?
I think it's, judging by the fact they've gone a lot darker, I think it's a reboot. I think they've gone back to the comics and just got rid of Ron Perlman because they can't afford him anymore.
Fair enough. He's got too big for his britches.
He was the perfect casting for Hellboy, though.
He was really good, but you never know.
No Guillermo.
Yeah, Sheriff from Stranger Things. I'm sure he's got a real name. He might do a good job. You never know. Steve. Steve Person. So anyway, we digress. Hellboy, the board game. We had a bit of a weird sort of experience with it, didn't we? A game of 2 halves, definitely. Well, a game of 1 half, and then 2 minutes of getting grokked by a evil monster man.
Yeah, it was a game of 75% and 25%.
It's probably more
90-10.
95.5, to be honest with you. When the big bad arrived, we didn't really hang around for very long, but in any good way that can be good.
Yeah, I'm not experienced enough at this game to know if that was an aberration. I've played this a couple of times with Raphael, and we've gone through the introductory scenarios. And the first one's very easy, just puts you straight into the game and then says, now go and play it properly. So we did that, and we had a fairly close loss. And then tonight we played it, 3 of us, and we romped through the scenario, exploring a mansion, finding clues, killing bad guys the second they appeared, staying on top of all of the mysteries and clues and everything. And then the baddie turned up and we were well prepared. We'd got plenty of insight, which is what you gather as you go along. And the baddie turned up, stunned us all, and killed us all in 2 rounds? 2 turns?
Yeah, but only because he couldn't do the job in one. We didn't... Basically, when the big bad had his second round, we weren't able to react apart from stand up. Which is pretty bad, but we're probably fast forwarding a bit, aren't we? We talk a bit about how the game plays.
Sure.
So essentially, you get some action tokens at the beginning of the game. We got 3 each. I don't know if that changes per character or you start with 3. And you're allowed to move for 2 spaces unless you've got a special ability that lets you move for free, which I did and took advantage of that. You can do an encounter for a free action, so that's basically open a door and see what's in the next room. You can shoot at enemies. You can try and punch enemies or throw them places.
You can clear up some stuff.
So you can clear up some enemy spawn points.
Fire. Frog spawn.
Inferno, fire things, which, buckets of water down on the demon fire. And you can also, more importantly, investigate clues to try and further the case. But thematically, all that is just putting a clue down on a tracker and moving on. You don't really get much flavour from cards or anything like that. So I don't know if cases really feel much different from one game to another, because we didn't really learn anything about where we were at.
There is some flavour, isn't there?
At the start of the game and
when you
towards the end.
Reveal certain points. But beyond that, it's...
There's major objective tokens, isn't there, where you investigate those and they'll give you a bit more flavour.
I'd say, there's about as much flavour as there is in the Mansions of Madness type games where you...
Oh, really?
Yeah, because you're revealing a clue token and that's giving you a little story beat of what happens. We were looking for a lost investigator and trying to rescue him and stuff. And then at the end of each round, you flip a Doom card or a deck of Doom, I think it's called. And that gives you a little story-based thing where Hellboy's getting more bad-tempered or illusions are appearing or traps and spawns and stuff like that. But essentially, you're moving and fighting, aren't you? Sam was Hellboy, moving and punching. Leki was Abe Sapien, moving and shooting. And I was Johann Strauss, is it? Moving,
and
moving and investigating. So it is like a move and fire type game, just like Journeys in Middle-earth and any other dungeon crawler, basically. But it's how much flavour is in there, I guess, is how much you bring to it.
Yeah, the amount that you actually choose to glean from, items and stuff you pick up. Because it's like you're saying, I suppose, like Mansions of Madness, there's flavour associated with items, but then you use your imagination to kind of think, oh, yeah, but we're after this sort of,
link it together sort of thing.
Yeah. Whereas it felt a bit more sort of generic in Hellboy, but at the same time, we weren't really manipulating items or anything, were we? We were just picking up clues and moving forward. So
I think it just lost a bit of the immersion. That's why it felt that way. Having the same minis come out. Again, there was no...
Oh, yeah, so there wasn't much variety. This whole game just comes with a variation of frogmen as baddies.
It's the same frogman, just in a slightly different pose.
Yeah, so it's like Zombicide, when you just get zombies, and you get fat zombies, thin zombies, and regular zombies. And in Hellboy, it's spitty froggies, walkie froggies, and froggies with clubs.
Froggies with
attitude. Actually, it's a little bit disappointing. It feels like one sort of scenario of baddies. There's a few different boss monsters and stuff, but every single time you'll get a variation of frogs. Now, I did buy this at retail, and I spent quite a bit extra getting the extra dice packs and the extra pimped components and stuff. So I don't know how much more stuff there was in the Kickstarter, but for a base game, it sort of feels like that. I think there's maybe 5 or 6 scenarios included, which get progressively more difficult and longer. So I went with a medium difficulty, short scenario, but we still got absolutely clouted, didn't we? When the boss appeared, it was there wasn't even a fighting chance. So
the angry ghost,
the ghost of Rasputin, who when he turned up had he acts twice, and each act is incredibly powerful. And his first act was to knock us all out, so we couldn't do anything, so we skip a whole round.
Yeah.
And then his second act was to kill one of us and then kill another of us straight off. So there's a chance you can come back when you get taken out of the game in the boss battle.
Yeah.
But it's the roll of 3 dice and...
It's a bit of a hokey mechanic, isn't it? It's like roll 3 dice, and if any of them come up blank...
You're still dead.
You're still dead. And it's like, well, that's fantastic.
And it reminds me of one of the worst game mechanics from that Games Workshop arena game we played. Was it Gore something or other, where you roll to see if you're still dead every turn?
Yeah, it's not fun, is it, really? It's like it's a bit like playing Monopoly and rolling doubles to get out of jail. And you think, I'd rather just... I'm already at home, but if I wasn't, I just want to go home. But at least it was the end of the scenario, though, and we all got killed off pretty quickly. So, if we were playing another scenario, we could just reset and go again, maybe. It's not the end of the world.
That's the weird thing, that was the end of the scenario, which ended very quickly. But the build-up, it didn't feel like there was much threat there at all. It felt like we were breezing through it, like a monster would appear. You don't go into a room, and it was dead before it got a chance to inflict any damage. Then it was just like, oh, we'll just clear up this stuff and one hit kill with my punches or your gun. It was like, yeah, don't stand a chance. Then it was just breeze through, got to the end, dead. Like, it didn't.
There was no difficulty ramp, was there? There was no tension ramp. It was literally
just like, here's a boss. Oh, I wonder what's going to happen here. Oh,
yeah.
It wasn't like striving to achieve anything.
And it's not like we were unprepared. Like, I think I needed to reload my gun, but I'd pretty much just done that. I had a harpoon that I hadn't picked up again yet. So it's not like we were completely taken by surprise. And it's like, oh, you can only punch him because he's a ghost, you can't punch him. It was like, no, he's not going to give you any time to react.
We all had full health. I had my gun ready, loaded. We hadn't taken an injury between us. And then it was literally, you're all dead. That's not how this goes. It wasn't thematic. It didn't feel like Hellboy at all. It just felt, he's always up against it, and there's big baddie, but he always comes out on top. It didn't feel like that. It was just dead.
I know what you mean. It's like very much like a vanilla dungeon crawler with Hellboy.
And again, I think that comes back to the whole immersion thing with the monster stuff. Whenever you play any dungeon crawl, there's always a variety of monsters, like different levels. Traditional fantasy, you get the goblins, orcs getting harder and harder, but this was it was all frogs. You
mentioned the injury mechanic. I thought that was actually quite nice. So every time you take a damage, you place them in a little tracker at the bottom of your character map, and then when that fills up and you take damage again, you flip them over from left to right, and they become injuries, which will sort of start nerfing your stats. So it'll be like a -1 to shoot. So you downgrade a shoot die. So you'll change it from being orange to yellow, so there's less chance of getting a decent result on it. Or it could be less investigation, so it does the same. So it starts messing with your dice rolls.
So that mechanic is for every check you roll 3 dice of a colour: yellow, orange, red, black, and they get progressively better the darker the colour. So when you get downgraded, you're getting worse dice, you're rolling worse dice. You can also use action points to pimp your dice and level it up. And you can actually do that on other people's turns as well. So to have them nerfed, it's quite a good, it's a slow crippling thing.
Yeah.
If it wasn't all in one go.
I think the dice chucking in this is kind of put to shame by, especially because we've been playing it recently, like Brook City and Street Masters and what, like the Sadler Brothers have done with having dice where every turn you're doing something good and you're achieving, whereas you can completely crap out in Hellboy by rolling blanks, or you can roll a die. So every time you roll 3 dice, and as you say, they're a different colour based on how good or bad your stat is, and you roll a blue die, which is like the fate sort of die, and that can have a good effect usually, but also a bad effect, and the bad effect can sometimes just undo all of the good stuff.
Yeah.
So if you're spending both of your actions, like 2 out of 3 actions, or in the end game against this particular boss, 2 out of 2 actions, because you actually get your actions reduced, and you spend both your actions to roll a dice, and it craps out and it does nothing. And, it's a really frustrating experience from the point of view of player agency, because it puts you right back in those older games like Descent or the D&D Adventure System games where you just roll and miss. And then, now it's time for the baddies to attack, and now I've got to roll to defend. And, if you crap out again in the boss battle, it was take you from full health to total death in one hit, Just
And
bonkers.
it's not even like the enemy himself was OP, because the first thing he did was fill the square we were on with minions. So even if his like attacks had been like half as powerful,
We still would have
when they all activate, they still would have kicked the rubbish out of us anyway. He just felt a bit like a bit sour grapes almost, isn't it? Like,
That's the problem as well with these games, is like, if you lose, you sort of go, oh, well, you know. But it didn't give us a sense in that confrontation, in the showdown, that we ever had a chance. We literally didn't get a roll against it.
no.
And I'm trying to remember, I think the last time I played this with Raphael and we got to the boss, I think we gave it a shot before going down. Maybe it's just the timing of the cards, the actual... each boss has their own behaviour deck, a bit like the, Dark Souls type board game and stuff, where they do their own things. But looking through it, he draws 2 cards every turn, this particular Rasputin's ghost.
You can't kill him.
You can't kill him.
No,
you can
slow him down and stop him from attacking, I suppose.
In trying to stop him from attacking for a round, but also you've got to clear the board of enemies, and there's tons of them, and you've got to get a guy out the door, and it starts to feel like a slog rather than, we didn't even get to the slogging part, but it looks like a slog. If we had survived for more than one round, it would have been like, wow, my God, we're going to get this guy all the way back to the entrance. We're going to take out all of these frog dudes, and we're going to survive this, nipping around ghost that's just screwing you over every turn.
When the scenario reveals as like who the baddie is, and then it tells you what you need to do to win, you almost start to check out, and it's like, oh, but we've got to go through all those rooms again, and some of those rooms have encounters in them still. So do we activate the encounters when we open the door whilst we're being chased by all these minions and Rasputin's really angry ghosts? It just seems like a lot of work. Artwork wise, there's a bit of artwork in the game, but it all pretty much feels like it's been lifted out of the comics and then resized and repurposed for the cards.
I do like that style though. I think
the style's
it looks good.
cool. The style's really nice, but none of it feels like it was really made custom for the game. There's like some really cool artwork on the character cards and on the actual game box, but then beyond that, there's like a little flavor image with some of the items, and it just feels like they've been sort of cropped.
The quality, it doesn't fall through to the tiles or the monster cards or any of those. It's just like, it feels, again, I think this is down to the whole immersion thing. It just, like the minis we had, they're really good.
The minis are brilliant.
They're really quality. And those like upgraded busts that we had for the
those are really funny.
priority tracker, they were really cool. And obviously you have to pay more to get those. But then you've got these that are just a bit on the side. You're not really paying much attention to them. And you got the board out, which is almost just like having A4 sheets with lines drawn on it at times.
Those alone are like probably some of the most like highly produced, quality-wise game components I've really seen, and they're literally just tracking who gets hit first.
Yeah,
and it's nice to see, but at the same time, it's like it'd be great to see like that level of design brought through the entire game. It's almost like it was a bit of an afterthought. It's like we need
the budget.
We need to do something cool that looks expensive for stretch goals. What can we do? Right, okay, these tokens could be super fancies.
It's bad because I always do like dungeon crawlers, but I feel a bit disengaged with it overall, the whole experience.
I'd like to play more just to make sure that it wasn't this scenario.
Based on this game, I'd rather play something else.
like we're just going for
I'd
like
go back and play Gears of War or something like that for a dungeon crawl.
Team Zero.
Team Zero.
Than this. And it might be great the next time we play it, but I've had more fun playing other games.
It could be just another, like, the next enemy might be something that's a bit more, a bit easier to sort of mitigate and get around.
Yeah.
Even, I don't, like, losing because you've made poor tactical decisions is fine. I can handle that. And losing because, you just didn't quite grasp what you needed to do. But just losing because the baddies appeared and you just
lost.
Yeah, that the first card in the boss AI deck just says, right, you're all not prone, which is bad luck. But then he also smashes you twice, and then you're all
that was randomly shuffled, just so you know. It wasn't like...
You didn't just set it up because you were like, I don't really want to play all this scenario. Yeah.
I want this deck to end quick.
I'll show you guys.
I think I want to like it more than I do because I love the Hellboy theme and big fan of the Guillermo movies, at least. I've not seen the new one. And obviously, invested quite a bit in getting all the pimped extra bits and pieces. And I do want to see if the other scenarios play out differently, how differently. There are other bosses that we've not explored and stuff, but it is the same minions every single time. And I don't know how much more there is to see than what we've seen. Like the special abilities of stunning monsters and hurling furniture, which quite sort of cool, fairly sort of standard dungeon crawler type things. And they're in the book. And and that's it. There's not like, there's not like this huge book of abilities and stuff that you've not seen. And each character has a list of special abilities, but some of them are so situational. You as Hellboy, Sam, you were like running in doing the big red right hook thing, which is just like one epic punch, and that was great. But that's kind of all you were doing, sort of thing. And I had all these cool sort of projection, astral projection, or possession type abilities that, when it came down to it, were just quite ineffective given the circumstances. I was like, oh, I can use my astral projection thing to go and investigate the point of interest. Oh no, I can't. I can only use it on clues. And it just every single time we tried to use a character ability, it felt like, do you know what? It's actually going to be better to just pay the action and do a punch or do a shoot.
Well, that was it. My other ability was to throw furniture at enemies, which sounds cool. And I can do a ranged attack, but it's like never came up. It was always it's better just to move on to them and punch them because I can do more damage.
Yeah, you're almost guaranteed to knock them into the ceiling.
Yeah.
There's one special ability that I wanted to use, but there was no situation for it really until the end when we all died, and that was to slink off the map, slink away. So for 2 action points, I could swap my character with an action marker, and then he's gone then until the end of the enemy's round, and he reappears at the start of the next hero round. So he's basically just like, I'm out here, guys. I'm just going to slip into the shadows and take no damage whatsoever.
In true cowardly form.
Yeah, but then come back blasting, I've got my gun ready and I'm going to do some damage. But it's again frustrating. It's like, I know what to do now to get around this ghost, but no, the ghost gets you first.
There's quite a few miss a turn effects as well, isn't there? Like, you lose an action, like the monster abilities drain your actions, and then there's like deck of doom cards that you flip, and it's like, you lose more actions, or you can only use your actions for a specific thing, which if you're not near an object, or if you're not near a baddie, you can't do it that turn. And I really don't like that sort of forced limitation on what little choice there is.
On the other side of that coin or die, there is a anti-jank mechanic, isn't there, with the RPDP?
BPRD?
BPRD dice, the blue dice. So it's got a skull on it, which is usually bad. So that makes just ignore your highest roll, and like you've run out of bullets for your gun if you happen to be Abe. But it also has like a reroll, so reroll as many dice as you want to. It's got an exploding dice, so it'll give you 2 more hits, and it's got the BPRD logo on it, which is from Abe. It was take 1 of your action points back, or choose another face on the BPRD dice to choose, whichever one you wanted, or reroll all the dice. So you might have rolled some absolutely horrible actual dice rolls for an attack, but then the BPRD dice comes out good, and all of a sudden you're back in it again, you've got another go. And that happened quite a lot when we were manipulating dice with that. So it feels like for every time you did crap out on a roll and you had nothing, there would be another go where you'd actually have nothing and be able to bring it back again. So it didn't annoy me too much, that one.
Yeah, for a dice chucker as you're moving through and smashing up minions, it's okay. And I'm sure, we will have to play it with a different boss and just see how differently it pans out. Yeah. Different mission. I think the thing that daunts me as well, though, is that was a medium difficulty, short adventure. Yeah. And it went quite long, and if we'd have survived, it would have gone a lot longer.
It would have dragged and dragged.
So to sort of do a longer duration one at a higher difficulty level, would that scale well? Is it different? Is it so different with 3 players than it was with 2? Yeah. I seem to remember me and Raphael sort of seemed to be rattling through and making more progress in the final confrontation bit than the 3 of us.
I don't feel as invested in this game as I did after I played Resident Evil.
Yes,
2, the board game, which is pretty much the same premise except loads more fun.
I think it's much more polished implementation of the theme, isn't it?
Definitely.
With Resident Evil.
Yeah, I'd agree with that one.
That's the other one we should break out.
This just felt a bit, like we said before, just a bit unplay tested or not play tested enough, and that's what.
Yeah,
it felt like you were coming up against walls with that.
It did feel a bit janky. There was a really nice moment when we uncovered a secret room after investigating one of the objective tokens, and that felt really thematic and nice. It just didn't really go anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, if a monster hits you for 5 damage on average, and there's a chance you can shrug that off completely or take a couple of hits.
Yeah.
As we made progress through, that was fine, and we even had the time and everything to restore or heal the damage if we needed to.
Yeah.
But if a monster suddenly turns up and does 20 damage, or 10 damage twice in 2 attacks, that can completely wipe you out in one go.
Yeah.
It might have been a nice idea in the design table, but in practice, I don't know how well implemented that was, how well tested it was. I don't know.
Not when you were stunned. So all you can do is stand back up. We couldn't even like try and kite it or anything. You couldn't move away. I know it was the way the cards fell more than anything, but
Yeah.
lie down, play dead, and then I'm gonna do 20 damage to you. Like, great.
It's very pretty, box wise, but then once you actually get under the skin of it and root around a bit, it's fairly average, isn't it? It's not a game that I'd really rush to recommend. Not over all the other dungeon crawlers that are available these days.
This feels so not Board-Chitless, doesn't it? Right now.
Yeah,
we need to
it's so
fanboy it.
hard to make a game and to get it out there and complete it, and so much of this is nicely packaged, and as you say, some of the best miniatures, and the theme I think is there. It just has some hurdles, and maybe that'll be fixed with more missions and more expansion content. But I do fear that when they make a game like this, it's set at a certain difficulty level, and I imagine expansions probably just ramp that up. So I don't know how well that would go.
It's not great if you rely on expansions to fix what's broken as well.
I wouldn't say it was broken. Well,
You never know. There might be an errata.
What would you say then?
Yeah, there could be errata content on that enemy. There might not be.
There might be, and then that again just shows that the playtesting wasn't sufficient if they're having to put out errata.
Yeah, but at least it's there. It's like the amount of games that now get released through Kickstarter, especially that end up being like patched via here's some rules, and a lot of them just provided by the Board Game Geek community as well.
I think we should give it one more go at a different mission.
Oh, definitely,
right,
definitely. It's a good, I suppose, because it sounds like we're just slating a game, and we don't really like to do that because we love games and want people to play games all the time, and want to give people the excuse to play games all the time. So what I'd say is really what we do. It's not really reviews, is it? It's more of a session report. Yeah. We're just giving an honest feedback on the vibe that we got from the game based on playing it, and it just happens to be the first time we played it. So take of that what you will. We can play it again, but would you want to play it over Resident Evil 2, the board game?
No.
That's the question.
No.
Oh, there you go.
No.
Or Zombicide.
Zombicide.
Or Fighting Zero.
Fighting Zero. There's so many of them. That's the problem as well. The competition is fierce. Absolutely fierce.
Fight it out.
Fight it out. Get them all in the pit and see who comes out on top.
Speaking of which, let's get Spartacus back out.
We've not had physical fights for long enough.
All right, well, there we go. Is there anything else to add about Hellboy? Can anyone redeem it using one concise summary? This
Soundtrack.
Well, using the film
If we
soundtrack
get
as a
Guillermo
score to
del
it.
Toro to make the game instead, then maybe it'll work.
Oh, you'll have to get him to basically. You get him under contract to make the game, then you have creative differences halfway through production of the game. Then the game never sees the light of day.
Anything that delays him from making his Mountains of Madness movie is a bad idea.
Where's that at now? It's got the green light
Development hell.
again.
No.
It's just not happening. It's
Waiting
not
for the
happening.
polar ice caps to melt at the minute, just to.
I think Cthulhu will be summoned before he actually gets that movie out.
It's just going to be a documentary by this point.
Terrible. Oh well. So Hellboy the board game. If you've got it and you've had a much better time playing it, please let us know. Let us know which enemies you came up against, which we might have a better experience with. And if you agree with us, then also leave a comment and just say, people, stay away from this if you're thinking about spending money on it. And also, if you've bought it on Kickstarter and there is more Kickstarter content that makes the game better, then please let us know, because it's always nice to, if you're wrong, it's great to be told that you're wrong and why. And if you're right, it's great to hear that as well in the echo chamber, that it's social media.
And if there is expansions, I'll probably just buy them anyway.
Well, yeah, because let's face it,
Completionist.
you've got a problem. You've got a problem, Tristan. You're an addict, but we love it because we also benefit from this addiction. You can head to the BoardChitless Facebook group on Facebook. We've got a Twitter account, so you can head to Twitter and go to @board_chitless and talk to us there, or just go to SoundCloud and leave a comment. There's loads of ways that you can talk to us. And then that's that for this week, I think. Anyone got anything else you want to put in? Anything? Got anything that you're selling? Any used car ads?
What are you buying? No, I'm done.
Okay. Well, until next time, guys. Goodbye.
Bye.